Your Ram was built to hit 200,000 miles. The engineers designed it that way. But right now, 7 things inside your truck are working against that. Silently, expensively, and in ways most owners never see coming until it's already too late to fix for free. Here's what they are. Here's how to stop them. The number one reason 5.7-liter HEMI engines don't reach 200,000 miles has nothing to do with how you drive. It has everything to do with a fuel-saving system that's been quietly eating your engine from the inside since the day you bought the truck. The 5.7 HEMI has used the multi-displacement system, MDS, since 2005. Under light load, it shuts down 4 of 8 cylinders to save fuel. For years, MDS ran without major issues. Then in 2009, Chrysler added variable valve timing. That VVT update changed the camshaft profile, increased valve lift, and altered the oiling dynamics inside the block. And that's when the lifter failures started piling up. Here's the problem. The lifters that manage cylinder deactivation depend on consistent oil delivery to function properly. At low RPM, especially during prolonged idle, the HEMI relies on splash lubrication. Splash oiling doesn't always reach those lifters evenly. Over thousands of engine hours, the starvation adds up. Lifters wear internally, they collapse. And when a lifter collapses, it doesn't go quietly. It gouges the camshaft lobes. Metal debris circulates through the engine, and suddenly you're not dealing with a worn part. You're dealing with internal engine destruction. The cost to replace the engine out of warranty sits at approximately $8,000. The highest risk window is 2009 through 2016. That's when the VVT lifter design was running without meaningful updates. Melling introduced improved lifters around 2015, and those began appearing more consistently in 2016 and 2017 production trucks. If your HEMI was built in that original risk window, you're sitting on a time bomb. What you should do right now. First, install an MDS Delete kit. It disables cylinder deactivation and removes the mechanical stress from the lifters. Second, switch your oil from 5W20 to 5W30. The heavier oil maintains better film strength during low RPM operation. Third, limit how long you let your truck idle. Long idle sessions are exactly where the oil starvation is worst. The HEMI is a strong engine. It can go the distance, but MDS combined with VVT is the silent failure nobody warned you about, and by the time you hear it, the bill is already $8,000. Your Ram has a built-in oil life monitor. It sits right on your dash, tracks your driving patterns, and tells you exactly when to change the oil. Most Ram owners trust it completely, and that trust is costing engines. Under what Ram considers normal driving conditions, that monitor will let you run up to 10,000 miles between oil changes. 10,000 miles on one fill of oil in a truck that weighs over 5,000 pounds with an engine running at high operating temperatures under load. Think about that number for a second. Now, here's where it falls apart. Ram's own documentation defines a category called severe service. The interval under severe service? 5,000 miles. Half of what the monitor allows. Severe service includes towing, hauling, stop-and-go driving, and operating in extreme temperatures. If you live in Texas and it's 105 degrees in July, severe service. If you cold start your truck at -20 in Minnesota, severe service. If you pull a trailer once a month or sit in stop-and-go traffic every day, severe service. Most Ram owners fall under the severe interval and have no idea. Here's the part that should concern you. The Oil Life Monitor does not account for towing. It does not measure your payload. It does not factor in ambient temperature. It reads RPM, cold start frequency, and basic engine load signals. That's the entire picture it uses to tell you your oil is fine. It has no idea you spent last Saturday pulling a 6,000-pound boat across 3 states in August. And this is where the math gets dangerous. Every extra mile you run on degraded oil accelerates wear on the bearings, the rings, and the cylinder walls. You won't feel it at 70,000 miles. You'll feel it at 140,000 when the compression starts dropping and the oil consumption starts climbing. By then, the damage was done 50,000 miles ago. Here's the rule. Change your oil every 5,000 miles. Use a quality full synthetic. Stop treating the oil life monitor as a maintenance plan. It's a cost of ownership estimate designed to make the truck look cheaper to maintain, not to make your engine survive past 200,000 miles. Your oil change schedule should be based on what your truck actually does, not what a sensor thinks it did. The monitor doesn't rebuild engines. You pay for that. If your Ram has the 8-speed automatic, you're driving one of the most capable transmissions ever put in a half-ton truck. It's the ZF8HP, the same platform found in BMWs, Jaguars, and Aston Martins. Smooth shifts, fast response, excellent fuel economy. But Ram is telling you this transmission never needs to be serviced, and that statement is quietly destroying transmissions across the country. Ram markets the transmission fluid as a lifetime fill. That sounds like you never need to touch it, but lifetime actually means the fluid will last through the powertrain warranty period, 100,000 miles. After that, your transmission is entirely your problem. They've designed the language to make you think you're covered forever. You're covered until the warranty expires. There's a massive difference. ZF, the company that designed, engineered, and manufactured the transmission, disagrees with Ram entirely. ZF recommends fluid service between 60,000 and 75,000 miles under normal driving conditions. Under severe duty, towing, hauling, frequent stop-and-go traffic, they recommend servicing even sooner. So the people who built the transmission say, service it regularly. The people who sold you the truck say never touch it. One of those two benefits financially when your transmission fails after the warranty is over. You can figure out which. Now here's the critical detail that most people get wrong. And getting it wrong can kill your transmission faster than skipping the service entirely. The correct fluid for the 8-speed is ZF Lifeguard 8. The specification number is 682-18925AA. Do not let anyone, your dealer, your mechanic, your neighbor, put Mopar ATF Plus 4 in your 8-speed transmission. That fluid is formulated for the older 6-speed. In the 8-speed, it will damage the valve body and the clutch packs. It is the wrong fluid, period. The correct service procedure is a drain and fill with a pan drop and filter replacement, not a flush. A flush can push accumulated debris into clean passages and cause more damage than it prevents. Drain, drop the pan, swap the filter, refill with the correct ZF fluid. Simple and effective. A full rebuild on the ZF 8-speed runs $4,000 to $6,000. A proper drain and fill with the right fluid and a new filter costs a fraction of that. You're choosing between those two numbers right now, whether you realize it or not. The ZF 8-speed is a masterpiece of engineering, but no masterpiece survives neglect. And lifetime fill is not a maintenance recommendation. It's a liability exit. If this information just saved you from a $4,000 transmission rebuild, hit subscribe and drop a comment below telling me which engine you're running. That's how I know what to cover next. Your cooling system is the most quietly critical system in your Ram. It runs in the background. No lights, no warnings, no sounds. And that silence is exactly how it kills your engine. By the time you notice a cooling problem, the damage has been compounding for months, sometimes years. Here's the first issue. The 5.7 HEMI uses a plastic thermostat housing, not aluminum, not cast iron, plastic. This housing is bolted to an engine that cycles between ambient temperature and well over 200 degrees Fahrenheit every time you turn the key. That constant expansion and contraction is what plastic tolerates worst. Hairline cracks develop, coolant seeps out slowly, and one day it gives way entirely. No warning, a sudden loss of coolant while you're driving. The second issue is the coolant itself. Ram uses OAT coolant, organic acid technology. It has a service life of approximately 5 years or 150,000 miles, whichever comes first. After the additives break down, the coolant becomes actively corrosive. The components it attacks are all aluminum, your water pump, your radiator, your heater core. A heater core replacement alone can exceed $1,000 in labor because of how deeply it sits inside the dashboard. $1,000 for a part that failed because nobody checked the coolant. Here's your protocol. Check your coolant level every 3 months. Not yearly, every 3 months. If your coolant is more than 5 years old, change it now, regardless of mileage. Age degrades the additives whether you're driving or not. And every oil change, take 30 seconds to visually inspect the thermostat housing. Look for white or green crusty residue around the housing and gasket surfaces. That's dried coolant. It means you're already leaking, even if the level hasn't dropped far enough to trigger a warning. The cooling system is the one thing standing between your engine and catastrophic overheating. A $15 jug of coolant and a $40 thermostat housing are the cheapest insurance your Ram will ever need. Ignore them, and your engine will teach you the price of silence. Your Ram's front end doesn't fail all at once. It degrades in silence, one bushing, one joint, one linkage at a time. Until the steering feels loose, the tires wear unevenly, and every lane change feels like a suggestion instead of a command. By the time the steering feels off, 3 or 4 components have already passed their service life. The Ram 1500 uses an independent front suspension. Ball joints, tie rod ends, control arm bushings, sway bar links, and wheel bearings all work together to keep your wheels aligned, your tires planted, and your steering precise. Every one of those components absorbs road impacts, cornering forces, and braking stress mile after mile. None of them last forever. Here's where the problem compounds. When a single ball joint develops play, it shifts load to the tie rod end next to it. That tie rod wears faster. The geometry pulls your alignment out of spec. Your tires begin wearing on the inside edge, losing thousands of miles of tread life before you even notice. And now the worn tires are masking even more suspension slop behind vibration you've learned to ignore. This is where most owners make the wrong call. They feel a shimmy or hear a clunk. They take it to a shop. The shop replaces one tie rod end or one sway bar link, the cheapest visible failure. The noise goes away for a few months. Then it comes back. Because the other worn components are still degrading, still pulling the alignment apart, still feeding the same cascade. Replacing one part in a multi-point system is a temporary fix, not a permanent solution. The correct approach is a comprehensive front-end inspection at 100,000 miles, regardless of symptoms. Not a quick visual glance while the truck is on the ground. A full physical inspection with the wheels in the air, checking for play in every joint, every bushing, every linkage point. If there's movement where there shouldn't be, you replace it. All of it. At the same time. Front-end parts on a Ram are not expensive individually. Ball joints, tie rods, control arm bushings, none of them break the bank on their own. But if you replace them one at a time over 2 years, you'll spend more in repeated alignments and destroyed tires than the parts ever cost. Your steering will never feel right because you're always chasing the next failure instead of fixing the system. Your front end doesn't warn you with a dashboard light. It warns you with vague steering, uneven tire wear, and a ride that slowly stops feeling like the truck you bought. By the time you notice, you've already been driving on borrowed precision for 20,000 miles. Your 5.7 HEMI is rated for 87 octane minimum. That's the number on the fuel door. That's the number every Ram owner remembers. But there's a second specification that almost nobody pays attention to. And for long-term engine durability, it matters more than octane ever will. Your engine is designed to tolerate E10 fuel, gasoline blended with 10% ethanol. That is the engineering design tolerance. E15, fuel blended with 15% ethanol, is showing up at more and more gas stations across the country. It's cheaper, it's everywhere, and it is not recommended for prolonged use in your truck. Here's why this matters. Ethanol is hygroscopic. It absorbs moisture directly from the air. Over time, that moisture accumulates inside your fuel system, in the tank, the lines, the injectors, the fuel rail. Water in the fuel system leads to corrosion from the inside out. Ethanol is also chemically aggressive toward rubber compounds. Seals, O-rings, fuel line connections, all of them take cumulative damage from extended exposure to ethanol concentrations above what the system was engineered to handle. The difference between 10% and 15% sounds trivial. Over a single fill-up, it is. Over 50,000 miles of fill-ups, you're talking about a measurable chemical assault on components that were never designed to withstand it. The degradation is invisible until a seal fails, a line cracks, or an injector starts leaking. The fix is simple. Read the pump label before you fuel up, every single time. If it says E15 or anything higher, choose a different pump or a different station. When you're towing in extreme heat, mountain grades, desert crossings, step up to premium. Premium blends typically carry lower ethanol content and higher knock resistance, which protects your engine under heavy load. The fuel you put in your Ram is the single most frequent maintenance decision you make, more frequent than oil changes. And most owners are making that decision based entirely on price per gallon, with zero thought toward what it's doing to their engine over 100,000 miles. Cheap fuel is only cheap until it isn't. This is the one nobody thinks about. Your engine gets its oil changed. Your transmission, if you're doing it right, is on a proper service schedule. But your rear differential and your transfer case are sitting underneath your truck right now, running the same factory fill fluid they've had since the day the truck rolled off the assembly line. The standard service interval for the rear differential is 60,000 miles. For the transfer case, 45,000. Under severe duty, towing, off-road, harsh winters reduce both by 30%. That puts your differential at roughly 42,000 and your transfer case at roughly 31,500. Here's what happens inside those housings when you skip the service. The gear oil breaks down from sustained heat and mechanical shear. Metal particles, a normal byproduct of gears meshing under load, accumulate in the fluid with every mile. Instead of clean lubricant protecting your ring and pinion gears, you've got a slurry of metallic debris suspended in degraded oil. That slurry isn't lubricating anymore. It's grinding. Every rotation, every mile. A rear differential failure costs $1,500 to $3,000 depending on the damage. A transfer case failure runs in the same range or higher. The service cost to prevent all of this? Under $200. You can do it yourself in a driveway with basic hand tools and about 45 minutes of your time. There is no simpler maintenance task on your entire truck. And there is no rational argument for skipping a $200 fluid change to gamble on a $3,000 repair. Your rear differential and transfer case don't give you warnings. They don't make noise when the fluid is degraded. They don't flash a light on the dash. They run in silence until the gears start failing. And by the time you hear the whine or the clunk, the bill is already written. Service them on schedule. It's the easiest money you'll ever save on your truck. 7 things, all fixable, all preventable. Every single one of them is happening right now to Ram trucks across this country. Trucks that will never see 200,000 miles. Not because the engineering failed, not because the engine wasn't strong enough, because the owner didn't know what to look for and nobody told them until it was too late. Now you know. The difference between a Ram that gets traded in at 150,000 and a Ram that rolls past 200,000 comes down to one variable: the owner. Not the dealer, not the model year. The person behind the wheel making the decisions. Your truck will go as far as you're willing to maintain it. The only question left is whether you start today or start writing checks tomorrow.